My fall trip was coming to a close, but as the sun rose over the mountain on that last day of the October trip, I realized that there were two things that I still needed to do. Gather and split firewood so that when I came back in the spring, I'd have a healthy stock of wood ready to go and dry, and walk the border of my property, something that I'd wanted to do for over a year since I purchased the place in 2021. The day had dawned bright and clear, with the promise of the last breath of summer before the full onset of fall and inevitable winter. Now is as good a time as any to get this stuff done. So after a quick trip to the kitchen for a cup of coffee, or two, I was down to the end of the driveway with the cart to grab all the maple that was knocked down by the tree that had fallen across the driveway. The spruce pile that I gathered will sit there until next year. It'll happily dry in place. I may lose a few of the logs at the bottom of the pile, but the rest will be in good shape. But the maple, specifically, I wanted to bring up to the top of the hill, split it up, and get it under cover so it was nice and dry by the time I got back. So chainsaw in hand, I went down to the bottom of the driveway and cut the maple to length, threw it on the cart, and began the long slog to drag it back up the hill. This may not look like much, but I'd combine it with the wood that I gathered from cutting down the tree that was growing through the side of the shack, and it would make a good pile, enough to get me started for next year. So some of this stuff was from the blowdown. Lost a tree across the driveway. You saw some in the work on that. The rest of this, the tree that came down was a spruce, big one. And there were 2 or 3 maples like right in the way, some smaller ones. So most of the wood you see here is green maple that came down when the tree just plowed them over and snapped them off. There's a maple down there that's probably, I don't know, 20 inches in diameter, 18, 20 inches across, and the whole top of it snapped off when this tree went. So I'm hoping that it is in good shape come spring or summer, the next time I'm up here. But I may need to, there may be another video cutting that down and then slabbing up some live edge maple slabs, just because it took off the majority of the top of the tree. So I'm not hopeful that it's going to last the year, but we'll see. You know, maybe it'll come back. If not, then I'll put it to good use like I'm putting this to use. Most of this is going to have to sit and dry, likely until next summer when I come back. But the stuff, the limb wood that you saw me cut, is all standing dead. It was on a maple tree that I have, and as you can see, the bark is peeling right off of it. So it's mostly dried out. This makes wonderful firewood. It splits super easy, and it burns really hot and for a long time. So I'm gonna unload this, and then I'm gonna sit down and have a cold beverage. Trying to sort out the dried standing dead stuff from the fresh maple, because the fresh stuff is going to have to go actually behind the camera in the little woodshed that I built. Some people don't like to split firewood, but for me, There's something zen-like in it. It takes me back to my childhood, where we heated our home with split logs and a wood-burning stove. Every year, my dad would get a load of logs dropped off and chainsaw them to length, and then my brother and I would be out there with a sledgehammer and a maul, splitting them day after day, week after week, putting up 10 face cord of firewood to get ready for winter. While the stakes aren't as high here, I'll be leaving before the real cold weather sets in. It's still a pleasurable experience, splitting the wood, knowing that down the road, I'll be happy that I did this work now, so I don't have to do it then. It's a lot easier to split this green wood, as the grain is straight, and it seems to just jump away from the axe. As it dries and the grain tightens up, this will get a little bit harder, but still not be too bad. None of the maple is twisted, and there's not a lot of limbs coming off, which cause knots, so it seems to split pretty well. You'll see I left a few of the larger pieces. That's so my brother has a chance to split some of this when he comes up. Like me, he enjoys this type of manual work. Something that you can put your body to work but leaves your mind at ease to think about other things and make plans for the future. So once Matt arrived and we set his tent up, it was time to walk the hill, something I've wanted to do for a while. It would give me an opportunity to walk the boundary of my property and check the survey marks to make sure that they're all in good standing. It would also help me to get a feel for what it's like to own over 25 acres in the Adirondack Mountains. As we walked the property line, I got a newfound respect for the survey crew who had to walk through these woods in August with ticks and mosquitoes the entire time. The survey marks were easily found. When you reached one, the next one was just at the edge of your sight. So they did a great job of lining things up and making it easy for us to find our way around. All around us, the beauty of the Adirondack autumn exploded, with leaves carpeting the ground and forming a glowing ceiling over our heads of oranges, reds, and yellows as the autumn light struck the trees and set them ablaze. While following the property line to the back corner, we came across an ancient maple, 36 inches across at least, and of course, Calvin had to photobomb the picture commemorating the discovery. As we walked the property line, I tried to be present in the moment and just enjoy the beauty all around me. It began to sink in that this was mine, and I'd have the rest of my life to enjoy it. The corners of the property were marked with cairns of stone with colored stakes. Some of them seemed like they'd been there forever. I know from the record search that some may be as old as the 1800s, when this piece of land was first split off from the larger parcel that used to contain it. So, in preparation of buying the place, I had a couple of surveys done. One was a boundary survey, and that's what we're doing right now. We're following the property line, which is a series of pink dots that you see. And it literally is going to go straight from the back right corner, which we've already found, to the back left corner, which we're heading towards right now. It's about 1,100 feet, I want to say. I'd have to look it up on the map, but I'll put it on the screen, the exact back measurement of the property. But this is just behind my property. I think this is state land, and this is cool. Look at this giant rock ledge. All around us as we explored were interesting things to see. Giant granite slabs and boulders, all sorts of interesting flora. We even flushed a roughly 150-pound deer from cover. So we're walking through the property line, and just behind the property line, look at this. I found the coolest burl on a tree. So 15 feet up this maple tree, there's a giant burl. That is cool. We continued to walk the property line. From the building site at the bottom of the hill to the far back corner of the property, it rises 320 feet in elevation. As we moved closer and closer to the far back corner, the ground became rockier, the slope became steeper, and the views became more spectacular. Each time I walk on my hill, I use a compass app that allows me to add waypoints. When I find a point of interest or one of the border markers, I make a note in the compass app with a waypoint and a note on my phone in a video. Maple Glade. By correlating the waypoint to the video or image, it allows me to have a historical track of what I saw. That corner. And go right back to a spot should I want to revisit again. I'll post the information about the compass app that I use in the description. I like it because it allows me to do positional tracking as well as add waypoints and calculate routes. It also tracks elevation changes, which on a property with a 15-degree constant slope is kind of important. It's very difficult for me to get lost on my own hill when I have a marker at the bottom and I just have to say that's where I want to go and it points me in the right direction. We wandered the hill for several hours, and the farther we went, the more interesting the views became. Say hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt. We lost the... Nope, there
No,
it
I
is.
didn't. It's right there.
Where's the next one?
It's a bit out. If you lean to the right, you can see there's a flag. Our time in the woods was almost over. In the morning, we'd have to pack up and head down to Ithaca so that I could catch a flight home the following day. But on this day, we took our time and enjoyed the woods. This is a trail. There was time for just one more wonderful view from the top of the hill. Then we had to head down to camp, get cleaned up, and get ready to pack up the following day. In total, we walked 1.6 miles and 35 flights of stairs walking the boundaries of my property, with a few detours to see several points of interest. As yet, I've still not seen more than half of my property, as I haven't walked the entire interior, but I hope to do so this summer when I go up there to live and work. For now, my time in the Adirondacks had come to a close. I'll miss the fall leaves, the sound of them crunching under my boots, the crispness of the air and the coldness of the mornings. But most of all, I'll miss my family and friends and my slow pace of life there. Thanks for watching.